Heyo, it's OmniDog here from OmniDog's Vault, and I'm here to present the June 2020 collected editions, essential collected editions. Now, I didn't sort of wait, I did wait for a week to see what has shaken out so far for the month of June. So what I present to you today is going to be run through the filter of what I think is important. So some books you may be looking for that I don't go over, and I didn't mean to say important, but I think, well, are important to the general populace, like a widespread audience. So if it's a small indie book and I didn't get to it, it's either because I didn't see it or I don't know about it. So keep that in mind when I talk about these. And second of all, most importantly, is we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and Diamond's just now starting back up distributing. Diamond's just now getting started back up, and I had a hard time finding exact dates for a lot of these books. So I'm not going to be listing them by week that they're coming out, just the month of June, because several of the sites had, if I had 3 sites up, I had 3 different release dates, but they all said June, and then I'd quadruple check with Amazon. So these are the books that are coming out in June, but I don't have them in any particular order because I can't 100% say for certain what day they're coming out for sure, because we're still in the middle of a crisis. Really, we're lucky to be getting comic books at all, quite frankly. That's my attitude anyway. I not meaning to sound like a lecture bunny, but I'm just saying that we're lucky to be getting books, and we're fortunate that I have a list at all that's coming out. So blah, 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 whatever. Yes, here's what I think you should be looking for coming up in the month of June, which is right now, 2020. So let me share my screen, and I'll talk about the books that I think you will enjoy the most. And here we go. Okay, starting with this book. No surprise to any of you out there who have followed me for a while, you know that I think that Irredeemable is my favorite comic book ever, and it's been hard to find in various formats. So here it is in a soft cover omnibus from who produces this? Boom? Yeah, Boom. So here it is in a soft cover omnibus, which is better than nothing because it's been hard to find it in paperback or hardcover for years now. So I advise you, when it comes out in June, to get it. This is my favorite comic book of all time, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I believe the sister book, Incorruptible, I believe there's going to be an omnibus released maybe next month. Not sure about that. I'll have to check, but I think Incorruptible is getting its own omnibus too. And Star Wars Age of Rebellion. I have it on good authority that this is a really good book. I haven't read any of it yet, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan, especially of this time period. And I checked around with various Omni nerds that I know, and the general consensus was this is an oversized hardcover that's coming out, and it's coming out in June, and it's supposed to be excellent. So I'm getting it, and I think you should keep your eyes open for it. This is Morbius. This is one of the covers for the omnibus, The Living Vampire. This omnibus does not have, unfortunately, I thought it might have his solo title, which was called Morbius. This is all his earlier appearances before that Morbius title. He's what, for, you know, certain villains appeal to certain people. I've always liked Morbius a lot, just because he reminds me of that sort of monstery Marvel monsters, like Werewolf by Night and Tomb of Dracula and stuff from the 70s. So that was a good period for me as a teenager growing up. So I like Morbius as a Spider-Man villain. So if you're interested in his earliest appearances from Amazing Spider-Man 101 on, then you should consider this. I think this is everything up until his solo series, which I guess is going to make its own next book. That is what makes sense to me. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a Disney Plus property that's coming up. I take time to check, but I don't actually care that much. So Morbius, give it a thought. It's a good character. I can't wait to get this. I sold my copy to a good friend of mine, Raleigh Smith, and I have been waiting for this to come back into print. I bought the Marvel Masterworks off of eBay to keep me covered until it came out, and now it's coming back out. This is I believe this is not the direct market cover. This is the regular cover. This is the cover I'm getting. These are great stories. Probably the best stories I think Stan Lee ever wrote. I love this book, and this has been out of print forever. So you have to get this. It's great. I just love this book, and I'm so happy that it's coming back in print. And this is for the Silver Age fans of you out there. Any of you out there? Hello. Besides me. This is Legion of Superheroes. This will be the final book. I love Legion of Superheroes, which is ridiculous because these stories make no sense whatsoever. I mean, how are you using Shadow Lass and Bouncing Boy in a battle? I don't know. But I love it. For some reason, it's nostalgia for when I was a little kid. I don't know. But Legion of Superheroes Omnibus, the more Silver Age DC we can get, the better, I think. And so I'm strongly in favor of this book. I really can't wait for Silver Age Batman and Superman, because then we'll get the Bronze Age when we need, which we really need. We need like 1970 to 1975 for Batman and Superman, in my opinion. So this is a book that I will definitely be getting, and probably two of you out there will probably get it, but that's cool. I love this book, and I totally understand it makes no sense. Oh, and this should be, let me see if I can get this a little bit bigger. This is Giant Days. Yeah, there, that's bigger. This is book 13. Book 13. I don't know. Lots of you out there know about Giant Days. If you don't know about Giant Days, it's about girls in a British college, and it is by John Allison. It's unfortunately not going to be continued in hardcover, which is too bad because that was a beautiful hardcover. Giant Days is super fun and super funny, super wholesome, and I love this book. So if you haven't read this book yet, give it a try. Start with book 1 and give it a try. Trade paperbacks, they're cheap and they're not out of print or anything. They're just a lot of fun. They're just very wholesome and fun. Doomsday Clock, Part 2. I'm not telling you to go out and buy this book. I'm telling you to be happy that it's finally out, so Jeff Johns and Gary Franks are now free to do something that everybody really wants, and that's Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. That's what they should be working on, not Doomsday Clock. This is coming out with a slip cover, slipcase that you can put parts 1 and 2 in. I'm sure I'll get this and read it and just say, okay, whatever. I have no idea what this is, where it's going, where it's taking us, what it's about. But it's important to know that now this team is free to do the stuff we really want them to do, which is Batman. Because and Jeff Johns writes a great Batman. I mean, he should be the writer on Batman. Invisible Kingdom. This was really good. This was kind of an under the radar book. I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, by G. Willow Wilson. If you haven't, you can check back on my reviews to get my review on this. This is book 2. Book 1, I don't have it right in front of me, but this is a great sci-fi fantasy. I love this book. I think it's one of her better books. I like it as much or even a little more than Ms. Marvel, and I love Ms. Marvel. So this is a really good book, and you might want to consider going out and getting book 1 and book 2. Moonshine. I think this is Brian Azzarello's one of his best works. This is book 3 in the series, and with great art by Eduardo Risso, his frequent collaborator. This is about, oh my gosh, what's it about? It's about moonshiners in the Appalachian Mountains, I think, or maybe they aren't even in the Appalachian Mountains. I haven't read it for a while, but they're up in the Boondock Mountains somewhere, and New York City slickers trying to come down. This is back in the 20s, try to come down and get their moonshine during Prohibition. And it turns out that the moonshiners are also like werewolves. And it's really a cool take on the werewolf tale. There's all kinds of occult witchery going on. Great art, really cool concept. I love this book, and I urge you to pick it up. Books 1 and 2 are out, and this will be book 3. I'm excited about this book because I love Moonshine. And I need to blow this up a little bit. Let's see. This is the James Bond by Warren Ellis omnibus. And I've read both the stories that Warren Ellis, or not stories, but the books that he's written for James Bond. I've already got them filed away, but they are excellent James Bond 007 books. Fantastic. You need this omnibus. I cannot praise it highly enough. Warren Ellis has just a perfect, pitch perfect ear for this book, for this character. I highly, highly recommend James Bond 007 by Warren Ellis. This is coming out from Dynamite, I believe, and is really good. Really good. Yeah. If you're a James Bond fan or a spy fan or a crime fan or a comic book fan or a fan of anything in the world, you need this book. And you need this book too, Parker Martini edition by the late, great Darwin Cook. These are private investigator stories of Parker. This is oversized. It's bigger than an absolute. This is the reissue of the long out of print volume 1. Volume 2 comes out later this year with a couple of new stories by Darwin Cook that haven't been published, and some newer stories written by Ed Brubaker and some other guys. Pardon me. But yeah, if you've been missing this book in your library, beautifully colored, beautifully drawn, really well written, Darwin Cook, taken from us way too soon. This book is awesome. And this is one of my most anticipated omnibuses of the year. That's Batman Superman or Superman Batman. I forget which it is. Maybe Superman Batman, I think it is. This is the Jeff Loeb stories with art by Ed McGuinness and Michael Turner and a few other really fine artists. It has a great Supergirl story illustrated by Michael Turner. I really like the stories in this book. I think they're strong. The art is good, and I just love this book. I don't have the absolutes for it. I just had the tiny trades for it. So I'm really looking forward to this omnibus. Superman Batman by Jeff Loeb. I haven't read this. This is Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, but people who have read this are raving about it. This, I believe, oh heck, is this book 3 or book 4? I'm going to have to look that up because I actually do care about this. Let's see. Is it book 3 or book 4? Yes, I know. I am a pro. I know. Daredevil Zdarsky. Okay, let's have a space in there so it doesn't Daredevils. Okay, volume 4. October 13th. So volume 3 is what we're looking at. There. That wasn't so hard. Volume 3. This is Daredevil Volume 3 by Chip Zdarsky, and it's apparently great. And it's coming out, so just be aware of it, so that you, or you may want to trade weight it, but Charles Soule's run hasn't been collected in oversized hardcover, so I don't know. I'm collecting this in trade paperback because I don't know what they're doing with their oversized hardcovers. So I'm collecting this in trade, and I think I better get on the stick and collect the Charles Soule run in trade too, because it hasn't come out in an oversized hardcover yet. And as soon as I buy Charles Soule's in trade paperback, it'll come out in hardcover. So you're welcome for that. Ladykiller, Joelle Jones, library edition. This is a must buy. I have the 2 paperbacks, gladly trading them in for this library size edition of Housewife by Day and Assassin by Night. Great story, really well written, excellent art, and this is a beautiful format. That Dark Horse library edition is a beautiful format for this book. I highly recommend Ladykiller. Really, really good concept, really well done. I love this book. This is in June. I don't know when. Sometime in June, but it is coming out, and it could be this coming Wednesday. That's when a lot of places had it down, which is 8, 9, 10, the 10th of June. A lot of places had it for that, so I may commit and say this is coming out June 10th. That was one thing that they all seem to agree on. This is Dawn of X, Volume 5. This is coming out sometime this month. I had a couple different dates on it, so I didn't want to commit. I'm getting these in trade paperback. It's inevitable it's going to come out in oversized hardcover. But I want to read it as soon as these Dawn of X books are collected and done. Then I want to read it, and of course it'll come out in omnibus or oversized hardcover, and you're welcome for that. Baltimore Omnibus, I read a couple different dates on this, but they both seem to agree in June. This is volume 2 of the Baltimore Omnibus. So it is coming out in June, but it did not, it was kind of mushy, the release date. So Baltimore, great book. I have just the standard hardcovers that I'm sticking with, but those of you, a lot of them were out of print and pricey. Those of you that haven't read it, it's not connected to any, it's not connected to the Hellboy series at all. It's just a great story. DC Goes to War, a collection of DC war stories. Came out in a lot of places last week, but in stock trades only got a few copies, so they're holding it for this week, which will be June 10th. I'm making this video on the 7th of June, 2020. So this is definitely going to be something. I love DC war comics, so I will definitely probably make up your mind, Jess. I'm definitely getting it, probably. Now this is the last one on my list, and I can't be certain. This is the only one I'm going to give you a caveat on. Yes, the last one on our list. Some places had it for June. Other places had it to be announced. So I may be talking about this book for the next 6 months as they decide when to put it out. This is a Garth Ennis comic. This is one of my top 2 comics for 2019. I may have voted it my best comic. I can't remember. It is definitely in my top 5. I'm pretty sure it was one of my top 2. This is one of Garth Ennis's greatest stories. I love this story and where it went, how it got there, what it put the FBI agents through. This is just an excellent, excellent story. Garth Ennis just hits an absolute home run. The art is gorgeous. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the artist name. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy, but I'm not going to, because he's a wonderful guy, I'm not going to trash his name because I can't pronounce it. But I'm not sure this is coming out in June, but be aware that this is on a hardcover to take place of the 2 trade paperbacks. So you should definitely look for it starting now in this month of June, and who knows, it may be October before it comes out, but some places had it for June. So I don't know. I'm just letting you know that it is going to be coming out in hardcover that you need to get. Definitely. And here's another book you need to get. I'm going to promote it. Postal Omnibus, the complete collection. You need to buy this because I love Postal. This is the Kickstarter version. You can go out and get it. All it has is a slipcover and my name in it, the Kickstarter version. So that's it's available now, and it's great, and you need to get it. That has nothing to do with June, but it is the month of June, so make it Postal month. Okay, that's it for collected editions. You can all go back to having your pieces of cheesecake or whatever you're doing now. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment. And I always respond to comments. I try and keep this thing upbeat and positive because these are books to look forward to. Books make our lives better because we can get lost in them. And right now is a good time to get lost in the world of comic books. So thank you for watching. Peace and love. Peace and love.